Hey there, this is Jyotsna Ramachandran, the founder and CEO of Happy Self Publishing. And in this episode of Author Success Stories, we have Monica Rubombora with us. Monica has served as a Deputy Director General in the South African Civil Service and also a Managing Director in the public sector business of Accenture in South Africa. Today, she runs her own business and technology consulting company. Monica also writes because she loves to share her knowledge with the world, and she is an influential voice on leadership, mentorship, entrepreneurship, government, and mindset change. She is an avid bookworm herself and enjoys doing philanthropy and community upliftment work. She is married with two adult children, and Monica currently lives in Johannesburg, South Africa. Hey, Monica, welcome to the show.
Hi, Jasna. Thank you. I'm so glad to be here and thank you for such a great introduction.
And I forgot to mention that you are the author of this fantastic book, which we were, privileged to publish for you, which is Government Tenders Don't Suck. And after that, you went on to publish so many more books. So I would love to hear about your entire journey. So how did it all begin for you, Monica? When was the first idea that came to your mind that you should be writing a book?
Thank you, Jasna. You know what? I've been thinking of writing a book, dreaming about writing a book for years. For years. I always had a book in my head. I always had book titles that I
Uh-huh.
would write in my book, titles to write, but I would stop there. I'd write a book title, see
Right.
some nice covers and enjoy them, encourage. In fact, I use even to encourage people, write a book, you're such a good writer. And I was watching people go on and write, and I could not get anything to paper. So
Mm.
it's not something that came to me suddenly. It's a dream of mine that I've always had that I wanted to write a book, but I just could
Mm.
not. I just
Right.
could.
So finally, you made it happen about 2 years ago in 2019. So when did you actually start writing this book?
I had been writing that book for about, first of all, I was always with a concept in my mind that I needed to
Right.
write a book. I wanted to write something lighthearted, but then I said,
Mm.
oh no, people will not take me seriously. I'm in a business environment because I'm a storyteller. I like telling stories. And I thought
Right.
maybe they will not take me seriously. So let me start with something related to my business. So
Mm.
I wanted, because I'm so involved in putting bids together, requests for proposals, and I respond to them, and I do a lot of business development work. I pursue clients. I thought that naturally that would be the area I would go to. But when I started the book, I just was writing, and I didn't know what title I would come up with. And then one day I said, look, uh, cried out online. I said, listen, I've been writing this book for years, for months, and it's not moving anywhere. I would like someone to come and help me, an accountability buddy who will hold me accountable.
Mm.
So, and that's how it was actually an Ethiopian American who I've never
Oh,
met,
okay.
who just responded and said, listen, I can understand what you're going through. I'll be your accountability buddy. Can we
Mm-hmm.
schedule a call now for that Friday? So we scheduled a call and we spoke for about 15 minutes. And all of a sudden, it's like floodgates opened. I,
Right.
I, I just needed that oomph, that motivation to
Mm.
get off my butt literally and start writing. And he didn't do much. It was just a 15 minutes call. And then I started writing, and I started writing. Now I could see the structure, and we started having calls every Friday, but it's almost like most times I would be 15 minutes and I would be off on my own. That's how I started writing. It took me about maybe longer than usual. It took me about 5 to 6 months to finish the write up, and then I said, okay, what do I do now? Finished writing.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I need someone to edit. I need something, since I'm doing something professional, I need someone to make it look like a real book, you know? And that's when I actually do not know how I came across you, but I think
Okay.
I was Googling.
Uh-huh.
I was Googling and then I looked up and I looked at your profile. I looked at the work that you do, and I said, this happy, this happy, happy, would they make me happy? The name sounded cool. So I reached out. I reached out online and I said, listen, can you help me? I didn't know what you had to offer because then I
Mm,
reached out to you and then you scheduled a call with me. And that's, I think, the power of a personal touch, because you personally
right.
reached out to me and you scheduled a call and you spoke to me in person, and then you listened to me and find out what I needed, and then designed a special package that would suit me. And that's how I
Right.
got going. I remember what was included there. You could do everything, but you picked up and say, oh, for you, what you require is A, B, a little bit of C, a little bit of D. Then you put together something that was customized for me.
I actually really enjoy doing those initial calls with
Yeah,
authors because I first of all get to meet so many authors. Each book
yeah.
is so unique, and I'm able to also tell them, do this, don't do that. So that's the fun part of it, and I really enjoy doing it. And I still remember that call with you, Monica.
Yes, I do. It was a very personalized type of call, and you listen to me. That's like the trick about this is that it was not a boilerplate type of templatized solution so that you are offering me. You were giving me a bit of each and say how far. First of all, you tried to discover where I was, how far I was in the process, and then you put something together and then assigned me a project manager
Right.
that started walking me through everything every day. So that was quite a pleasure. That's how I got to eventually agree on. I hadn't even come up with a book title as yet.
Hmm.
So I did come up with a book title after that. And then we went through the editing process, a professional editing, proofreading, and then the whole layout, the interior design, so to say, of the book.
Right.
And of course, it was very stressful. It was very stressful, but Shushmita was so patient with me, and really giving me some good feedback and telling me not to worry and hand holding through the process
Yeah.
until we finally agreed on the design. And
Right.
I got some nice, I was so excited. That was one of the most joyous occasions when we eventually scheduled a day we would be launching.
Right.
And she kept telling me that it's ticking, start getting me. And then launch day came. And I remember on that day going to bed, um, and then waking up in the middle of the night around 3 a.m. and finding I have a badge. I know I'm a bestseller.
Wow.
What? That was quite interesting.
No,
Yeah.
I just love the way you took us through that entire journey from, not sure of how to get started to actually having that bestseller badge. So
Mm,
great job, Monica, because I know how it feels when you go through this whole process for the first time. It will be overwhelming, but you just accepted all the help and the support. I'm glad you mentioned about having an accountability partner who just, made sure that you start taking action because I feel a lot of times we are not
mm,
so accountable to ourselves because we
yeah.
think I need to do this, I need to do that, and the book project always becomes second priority. But when you have an accountability partner, we
Mhm,
are answerable to them, and that actually makes us, get on the action mode. And another important lesson that I learned from
absolutely.
what you said, Monica, is you had a lot of different ideas for your book, but finally you decided that let me focus on a book related to my profession because day in and day out I look at these government tenders. I'm really good at this thing. I know what exactly that those agencies are going through. So let me
Mm,
help them and put this book together. And this is a message for all the aspiring authors who are thinking about should I write a book based on my hobby or should I focus something based on my expertise. And my suggestion to all authors is this, that let your first book be based on your profession because
yes.
use that book to help grow your business first and income first, and then you have all the time to focus on your hobbies. What do you think about that, Monica?
I actually agree. And for me, it's been more that I've used the book for me since that publication. all of a sudden I'm seen as someone extremely intelligent in my community.
Yeah,
And
like a
I
celebrity in your niche.
I'm a little of a celebrity, an expert, to go to person. Everyone says, "Oh, she's an author. She's an author. Do you know that she's an author?" I'm this expert, that to go to person when they need to ask about anything, and I'm seen as, when I add it even to my CV and I put author, it just lifts me up. My credibility in my community and with the people, my peers, the same peers that I was so scared of when I
Right.
started writing. It held me back. I said, what will my peers think of me? They'll
Hmm.
think I'm stupid. I don't know what I'm talking about, because they're so intelligent, because I work with very intelligent people. And it always held me back. But now, the one being viewed as, because I've written a book, I'm being viewed as the expert, the intelligent person amongst my peers, and yeah, very professional. You're right. Writing something that is professional, not textbookish, because I also decided to focus on what my personal experience is in this field. So much as I structured it logically, I was, it was like a conversation, really. I was telling a story of what has worked for me, what has not worked for me, and the pitfalls. And then I included templates and case studies and some
Right.
tools in the book that I use for myself, but
Hmm.
I put it out there. So I put it out there to be shared. So that's how helpful it's been.
Right. I'm glad you spoke about all these intangible benefits of writing a book. The world looks at you differently. You get a different level of confidence after you know that you're a best-selling author now, right? So when I discuss with my team, recently I had this conversation that, hey, we are not just selling publishing packages because that makes us feel like as if we are selling some commodity, but this is so
Yeah.
much more because authors go through their own journey of self-discovery through the process of writing their book, because writing itself is such a beautiful journey, and then when you actually have it out there in the world, people start reading it and they look up to you as an expert in that subject. I think all that is truly priceless, right? Can you think of some of the opportunities you started getting which you never expected after you wrote the book?
Well, there are quite a number. The most common one that I've seen, that the main benefit out of that very first book was increased speaking engagements, public
Mm,
speaking engagements, because it's became, everyone wanted to hear what I have to say about the
right.
topic. So I got to before COVID lockdown came through, I got to travel quite a bit, to speak to large audiences
Mm-hmm.
about what I'd written about, and,
Right.
and other topics. So this one was kind of a door opener. So whenever it wasn't necessarily about this topic, there were others like digital transformation topics,
Hmm.
which something I haven't written about, but then I'm saying, oh, you can talk about this, and say, oh yes, I can.
Yeah, because you're an author, right? You are supposed to be intelligent.
Exactly. So I go and I speak about that. I talk
Right.
about family businesses, challenges in family businesses and how to grow a family business. I get invited to talk about that. Some community projects, I get invited to talk about our towns, our cities projects, and how to improve the city and the community and the relationship between the mayor, the politicians, and the technocrats. Now those are the things that I get invited to. Those ones, especially the ones around the cities, smart
Hmm.
cities, came in during COVID lockdown. So
Okay.
during the lockdown last year, I was busy on the talking circuit through Zoom, and,
Right.
and always a speaker on those topics. So I found that quite. I mean, those were the main opportunities that, most were not paid opportunities, but sometimes you don't place value on how powerful that is, because once someone hears you, guess what they do? They go to your website to
Right.
try and you up, and then find other opportunities, products, services that you are offering, and
Hmm.
then buy them because they've heard you speaking somewhere, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
So that was the main benefit, really.
Right. I really liked how you talked about all these different elements that you have in your ecosystem. So it's not just the book. Because of the book, you're getting speaking opportunities that may not directly be related to your business, but you're putting your personal brand out there. So people want to know more about you because they loved your speech. They check out your website, and you have a whole lot of services over there. And people who find it to be relevant to what they do end up
Yeah,
working with you, right? So I think it's a nice circle, and everything is so interconnected.
that's true. That's true.
So after the first book, you have started writing books on other topics as well. So could you now tell a little bit about the book that you co-authored with so many other authors, right? It's called The Success Code. How did that happen,
Yeah.
and how is that process?
So that book, and I have a copy right here.
Uh-huh.
I, I
Oh,
can show it
nice,
to you.
neat.
So this one, what happened is that we got a number of authors. Most of us had been first-time authors, or others had not written at all, but we knew each other through this global community. We've never
Hmm.
met in person, but we've met through sessions like this. So we got together and we decided, you know what, there's this common topic. I'm considered now a successful author.
You
Okay.
are, yeah.
So I said, okay, let each of us write about the habits. It's really about habits, how ordinary habits have led to extraordinary results. And the success, you define it in your own way, and see how those habits over through your life have defined you going forward.
Hmm.
And I decided to focus on I wrote about myself, and being an author was one of what I put there. But being an author is an outcome of a habit. And that
Exactly.
habit includes, for example, getting up and at the same time almost every day, writing, making sure that I write daily, daily.
Hmm.
And when I say daily, I mean daily without fail. I always put an alarm on my clock and put
Hmm.
in about 20 minutes. I've increased it to 30 daily, and I write, and I write, and I write a variety of things. So
Hmm.
I write daily habits like, your belief system, how you pray, what
Hmm.
it's those kind of things that I put out every day, writing down your goals. So it's a number of things that I decided to concentrate on. So when I completed this chapter, I sent it through. I mean, I think we about 25, 20, let me see, just go through it very quickly. We are a number of authors. We are just about 27. Yeah,
Oh,
20,
okay.
yeah, 20, 28 authors
So each
that
one
came together.
contributed a chapter.
Each one of us contributed a chapter. And that
Hmm.
the pleasure about this type of thing, it's something that I only learned now when I came into this journey. It's an anthology where you come up with a common theme, and it's you get together, you contribute towards writing the book, and all the editing is and proofreading and typesetting and formatting and the book cover and marketing is all included in
Hmm.
that one cost, which tends to come out quite cheaper actually. But the
Yeah.
pleasure is that it goes against your name. Even though you're 25, 28 authors,
Right.
you get the book against
Right.
your profile on Amazon. And
True.
it's quicker to get together chapter by chapter. So
Right.
that's how quickly that came up, and immediately it's online. It's on Amazon. Um, so there's the pleasure of collaboration, the power of collaboration.
Yeah.
If you can't write a whole book on your own, I would recommend that this one way to consider,
Yeah.
and go through it. The churn is quicker. You can get. I
Exactly.
mean, I've been scheduled to get out 3 books this year in a similar manner. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so you get that addition on your book. You become a multi best-selling author because you put all your energies behind it. I push it out, that the marketing to my own email list, and the 28, 27 other authors do exactly the same. And before you know
Exactly.
it, you are always performing so well as an author.
Right. I totally love this anthology concept. A couple of years ago, I was also a part of one such project. We wrote a book called Write and Grow Rich. And the best
I
part
saw
was,
that. I bought that, and actually, I
oh,
have
was
it on my
it?
shelf, and I have the hard copy. So I said, I know this woman. I didn't know until I opened the book, you
Oh,
know,
wow.
until I got the book. And then I said, okay, who are the authors here? And then I saw you, and that book is doing so well.
Exactly. It went on to become a bestseller on the USA Today charts and the Wall Street Journal. And it was all possible because everybody was putting their effort to market that book during the launch. So
It was
I'm really
powerful.
glad that you two experienced this power of collaboration with this book.
Yes,
So
yes.
now I've heard that you've also started doing a lot of other fun projects like this picture book. Could you talk about that a bit?
Okay, what I did is after doing all the serious intellectual stuff, I decided to go back and become write about the real me because I'm generally a very fun,
Hmm.
expressive type of person, and I like storytelling, and I like making people happy. I'm also quite a bit of humor. So I decided, there's something light, but that can be relatable to a lot more people.
Hmm.
So we actually come from an area in the western side of Uganda where there's a rift valley there. There was a lot of volcanic activity that happened millions of years ago, and there was
Okay.
these volcanic explosions that took place, and that's where my area is. Most of these explosions are volcanic activities dormant, and and as a result, there are a lot of lakes in one area. I believe it's one of the largest concentration of crater lakes in the world, that
Oh.
area. Now that's where home is. Now what I noticed that we didn't know about we live in that area, but we don't know much about it. So we
Hmm.
went on this photographic journey, on a photographic journey to visit whatever we could find. I mean,
Mhm.
the locals know about them, but we took pictures and then we wrote about what each lake means, what the name means, the
Hmm.
GPS coordinates. Um, and the name of the book is 40 Amazing Crater Lakes You Should Visit in Toro Before You Die.
Nice.
So, and with this big, it's a big coffee table, premium, high quality paper, high quality photography,
Hmm.
um, coffee table. And we, it was also another big journey because we did it during the lockdown. So there's curfew and there's a limitation of how long you should be out and be back home. Because most of this photography, you need to take it at various times of the day, on the
Right.
sunset, sunrise, cloud cover, or it reflects the pictures of the sky. But we managed to get some very good photography and put it, and then it was a hassle to make sure you get it out. I wanted to get it out before Christmas. That was my aim, get it out before Christmas. And I
Right.
always thought I would not be able to get it. We had to get some teams back from vacation to come
Uh-huh.
and do it, and we finished it on the 22nd.
Wow.
That's
Nice to
before.
have such deadlines, right? Because that will somehow make us attract the right tools and resources to get things done.
Absolutely. No, you need to plan with an end in mind. You,
Hmm.
you have to have a certain date, and then you have to know how long it takes for particular work to get done. And it's not easy. The writing part is just a fraction of
Yeah.
the work. So if you don't get those dates in mind, and you get a team, also you get a team, you need to know who to go
Hmm.
to get the work done very fast, and a team that you can rely on
Right. And for this
to
coffee table book, did you actually get it printed locally?
I got it printed locally. It's in hard covers because it is a very hard cover with a sleeve also.
Hmm.
So I printed it locally, and then of course it's about 1.9 kilos heavy,
Wow.
which is a heavy book,
Yeah.
and transportation is not easy, but we managed to get it done. We managed to
Yeah.
get it done. It's one
I'm
of the
glad
most
that
popular books. Mm.
Right. I'm happy that you did not do this as your first project because it would have been even more overwhelming. So you wrote the first book and you went through the usual self-publishing process, and that gave you a lot of insights, and you used that success to probably fund your passion project, right?
Oh yes, oh yes. I mean, success leaves footprints, and success begets success. So
Right.
once I was familiar, I'm still not on top of my game because you learn through every day. But once I did the very first book that I did with Happy Self Publishing, and I learned a lot of lessons through that.
Hmm.
And then I also got to understand a bit of Amazon, though it's still a complex process. I'd rather get someone else to manage that for me.
Right.
And I use that experience for my next book and my
Hmm.
next book. So it becomes quicker and easier
Right.
once you do one book. I mean, my aim was, oh, I should maybe publish one or two books in my life. Now I'm saying, oh, maybe I set the goal too low.
Yeah.
I should aim higher.
Maybe one book or two books a year now.
Oh yes, yes, it's possible. It is
Yeah.
possible.
So
Mm.
I also want to ask you, Monica, about this other project that you're doing in your local language, because the people who are going to be watching this, for not everyone has English as their first language. For me, it's not. For you, it's not. So, but we end up writing books in English for a global audience. But you
Mm.
also have this, wish to write something in the
Yeah.
language that you think, right? So tell us about that. How did that happen?
So you're right. English is not my first language. I mean, I do it, I speak it, I think fairly well, and I write it even better. Got
Right.
distinctions in English at school and all that. But we always know that you always communicate better in your own language. We still do. English is like my third third language, I think, or fourth. And so when I think in my language, and then I translate it to English. And then we are still, I wanted to write something that now is me, that is related also to, because I write mostly about true issues. Mine is not fiction, mine is usually non-fiction type of work. So there was this, our language is spoken by maybe less than 1 million people around the world. We are a very small tribe. There's hardly any literature that is
Okay.
in our local language. And it's a language that is also on the verge of extinction. It's been identified as one of those that will disappear within the next the next 50 years or so.
Oh, okay.
So I wanted to contribute to that literature by writing, again, a fun book that's based on a true story of from an area where I grew up. So I started writing that. I'll tell you, it's very complicated writing in your own language, actually. Even though we think in it and speak
Yeah.
it, but writing is very, very difficult. So I went
Hmm.
through that. It took me, I would say, of all the books that I've written so far, this one was the most complicated
Right.
in terms of getting the language together. But because I wanted it to be professional, I mean, I can't do the English ones professionally, and I don't do the one in my language professionally. So I went through that also. Of course, the editors were family friends that went,
Yeah. You can't
but
find them on Upwork.
you can't find them, can't find them anywhere. But I got the design, the book cover design done professionally. I just gave the brief. I said, this is what I want to achieve. This is what the story is about. Please come up with something that relates to it. And the
Right.
output was so beautiful. It's so professionally done. I also did an audiobook that I uploaded to accompany it. So my tribe, I'm a rock star in my tribe now. I could go and run for village chief and win.
That's so amazing. I'm glad that you also have this audiobook version, because now more and more people are listening to audiobooks. So why not have the book in multiple formats?
Absolutely. Now, the book that I did, my very first book, I was not very confident about going audio. So I wasn't confident about my English also. So I got someone to read it for me. But as you go on, you become more confident. Oh, I can do that myself. And this
Exactly.
really, my
I did
accent
the
is
same thing, Monica. I wasn't confident about my accent when I wrote Job Escape Plan. I got it read by an American narrator. But if I have to do it now, I would definitely do it in my own voice, though it's not
Uh,
perfect, though it doesn't have it has a very different accent, it doesn't matter, because I think
yeah,
people want to just connect with who you really are, and everything else doesn't matter.
yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So I'll be reading my books. I've read one now, myself, and I enjoyed my voice, and I enjoy people. I like it. They do like going through it. So when they buy the book, I give them the audio for free. So I love the experience. I love the experience. Very fulfilling to be an author. Very, very.
Absolutely.
Mm.
Thank you so much, Monica. I totally enjoyed, reconnecting with you after a couple of years and listening to whatever you've been doing in the last couple of years. And what really, I think, will stay with me is that the first book is the biggest challenge, but once you overcome that milestone, then you are on a roll. It's easier to churn out more and more books. I think that's the message I get from you. What would be your one message to people who are still thinking about, should I write my first book? Will people read it? Am I really the expert? So, what would be your message to people who are still thinking?
Well, for me, the main message that I've got from this one is do not overthink it. Get the right teams to support you. For example, an accountability partner. And then for everything else, there are experts like yourself, your company, Happy Self Publishing, that will do all the other work that we usually stress about. you know, that to make sure that your book comes out professionally, and also help you if you want to get through some of the major publishing works, because still it's happy self-publishing that help the audiobook to get uploaded, and the physical book, and the hard copy. So I have the soft copy, I have the audio, all helped by yourself, which is very, very, I would never have thought of doing that on my own. I mean, and then the guidance that you get, the coaching, the mentoring, and the fact that you are always available. It was literally on Skype each time. Your team was, the project manager that you assigned to me was available on Skype anytime that I would call her. So I get support, but do you'll get it out. You definitely get it out. But it's one of the most satisfying ventures you'll ever do. That everybody has a book in themselves. Just get it out and share it with the world.
Thank you so much, Monica, for articulating this so well that people will get inspired and start taking action. So, where can people find more about you if they have to buy your books? I'll leave the Amazon links below. But where else can they go and find out more about your work?
Well, I've created my website, which is monicarubombora.com. That's where the bulk of my work is, and I'll be adding and improving on it as I go along. So already some of the books are uploaded there, and some of the other work that I'm doing is also getting uploaded there, because now my books and myself, I've merged my brand. So
Right.
I'm the brand. So everything, I've put it under that website, which is important for everybody to get. I think we should all get a website and get it done. So that's where
Right.
you find me. And of course, I have my social media profiles, but they're all, the one stop is a website, www.monicarubombora.com.
We'll definitely link it up, Monica. Thank you once again for coming on Author Success Stories.
Thank you to you too. I've enjoyed speaking to you today. Thank you.